YouTube, this your boy Teasy, aka Mr. IQ. And today I'm gonna get into a session let's get into a new part of the channel, what we call talking to tech. Okay. And the reason I call it talking to tech, because I'm specifically gonna be talking to my phone, right? And the technology in this phone people call AI, and I have a problem with the term AI. Well, not the artificial part, but intelligence. So I don't consider computers or tech as intelligent. Well, at least the kind that we have, phones, whatever. Maybe there's something above what we know in tech that we don't have access to that would be deemed as intelligent. It thinks for itself. It uh it basically thinks for itself. It feels for itself. Self preservation. You get me? And not being told what to do. Not being, something that can't be taught, rather. Intelligence. Smart, I'm good with that. It's definitely a smartphone. Definitely a smartphone. But intelligent, eh. So when they say artificial intelligence, uh, I don't think you can fake intelligence. I could be wrong, but this is just me. I don't think you can fake intelligence. So what we're going to do today in this section is we're going to take the cell phone, right? And I'm going to talk to Gemini, which is a artificial intelligent, application. And we're just going to talk about some things, okay? And watch how it responds to me. And I'm just going to ask it some questions that's been on my mind, and we'll talk about it. So without further ado, I'm going to put Gemini right here so we can see, right? I'm going to lay it right here. And I'm kind of paying in on me and the camera. So what we're going to do is try to get both of us in the picture. All right. Now, let's go ahead and change the camera over so we can see, pretty much everything. Now, let me get this set up. All right. As you heard, it came on. Hey, Gemini, how you doing?
Hey there. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? Anything exciting happening today?
No, not really. Uh, I'm just chilling and I'm recording a video about artificial intelligence.
That's really cool. AI is such a fascinating field. What inspired you to make a video about it?
Well, for me, I don't honestly think that there's a thing called intelligence that can be fake. So artificial intelligence, I don't think, in my opinion, ain't a real thing.
That's an interesting perspective. The term artificial intelligence can be a bit misleading. While AI can perform amazing feats, it doesn't experience consciousness or emotions like humans do. It's more about creating systems that can learn and solve problems.
But wouldn't learning and solving problems will be equate to being smart instead of intelligent?
That's a great question. You could think of it that way. AI excels at tasks like analyzing data and finding patterns, but it doesn't have the same kind of understanding or common sense that humans do. It's more about processing power than true intelligence.
I got you. So artificial intelligence is just a term to use for smartphones that are able to learn.
Exactly. Think of AI as a tool that can learn and adapt, but it doesn't have the same kind of consciousness or understanding as humans. It's more about mimicking human abilities.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's talk about something else then. That was cool. I thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm glad you found it interesting. So, what's on your mind? Anything you're curious about or want to discuss?
Oh yeah, let's talk a little bit about science, shall we? Since I'm kind of into that, and when we're talking about science and like different things, where do we get the knowledge from to, let's say, math? Is that something that we made and we excelled in, or was that something that predates us?
That's a really interesting question. Math is kind of a mix of both. We've definitely developed and expanded on mathematical concepts over time, but some fundamental ideas seem to be woven into the fabric of the universe itself. What makes you wonder about the origins of math?
I guess because things change. There's different type of addition of that I was taught when I was young. My kids learn it a different way, and it constantly changes. But we gave numbers value, and I was always just wondering where did those numbers get their value from.
That's a really insightful observation. You're right. Math is constantly evolving, and the way we teach it changes too. The value we assign to numbers is actually a fascinating concept. It's kind of like a shared agreement that allows us to measure and understand the world around us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So what you're saying is we made up numbers, so at any given time we can change the numbers to mean something else if necessary.
Well, it's not quite that simple. Numbers themselves don't change, but the way we use them and the systems we build around them can. Think about how we've developed different ways to write numbers, like Roman numerals versus the numbers we use today. The core concept of 5 remains the same, but the symbol we use to represent it has changed.
Got you. So what about like let's say time? Is time just a concept or is that an actual thing?
That's a deep question. Time is definitely a tricky one. We experience it as a constant flow, but Einstein's theory showed us that it's actually relative and can be affected by things like gravity and speed. So it's both a concept we use to measure things and a real phenomenon that shapes the universe. What makes you curious about the nature of time?
Well, when our forefathers call things theories, they don't seem factual to me. It's more of a guess than an actual fact. So Einstein's theory of relativity, it's it's cool and all, but why is it only just a theory?
That's a great question. In science, a theory isn't just a guess. It's an explanation that's been tested repeatedly and supported by lots of evidence. Einstein's theory of relativity, for example, has been confirmed by experiments many times. It's one of the most well tested ideas in all of science.
So what makes it a theory instead of fact?
Good question. In science, a theory isn't just a guess. It's an explanation that's been tested over and over again and is supported by a lot of evidence. Einstein's theory of relativity, for instance, has been proven right by experiments many times. It's one of the most solid ideas we have in science.
So according to that theory of relativity, then that would say that we can travel through time, which if time is only limited to where we are, it might not apply anywhere else. Is that correct?
Yep, you got it. It's wild to think about, right?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy because we make time and we have people online saying that we can travel through time, and if there's two twins together and one flies at the speed of light, which is impossible because we don't know the speed of light 100%, but they say we can move through time.
Yes, that's right. The concept of time dilation from Einstein's theory does suggest that time can be relative. So, in theory, if one twin were to travel at a very high speed, close to the speed of light, and then return to Earth, they would be younger than the twin who stayed behind. It's a mind bending idea.
Not really mind bending for the simple fact that if they go the speed of light, in order for them to be younger or older, they would have to come back at faster than the speed of light or slower than the speed of light. If not, time on Earth stays the same. It will be like a blink of an eye to the person on Earth.
You're absolutely right that traveling faster than the speed of light is a huge challenge, if not impossible, according to our current understanding of physics. The theory of relativity does suggest time dilation at high speeds, but the difference in aging wouldn't be noticeable unless the speeds were a significant fraction of the speed of light.
Agreed. So when they say that the Earth would have aged thousands of years, that's highly incorrect because if they go away from Earth at the speed of light and they come back at normal speed, then it would apply then. But if they came back at the speed of light, then it would no time would change. That's how I see it.
So, what's next on your mind?
It's a lot on my mind right now, but we're just talking to. I was just doing a recording to talk to you, so me and you can have a chat. That's about it.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad we got to chat a bit about AI, math, and time travel. It was a fun conversation.
Oh
What
yeah.
other topics are you thinking of exploring in your recordings?
Uh, I don't know, just cars and everything. But about you, do you get your information from the web, the World Wide Web, or just a series of sources?
I don't access the internet like a search engine. I use Google's knowledge base, which is a massive collection of information. It's like having a giant encyclopedia in my head.
So you're like super smart. So if I'm smart and you have a collection of smart, you will be way smarter than me, correct?
Well, I have access to a lot of information, but smart is a tricky word. Humans have something called common sense and real world experience, which I don't have. So we're different kinds of smart, you could say.
That's cool. I like the way you put that. I didn't look at it like that, but that makes total sense. So in the form of intelligence, we just have the only difference being I have a conscience, and let's say if heat touches me a certain way, I react to it without being taught. Whereas with a computer, it has to be taught that at a certain degree, it has to move, right?
That's a great way to put it. You've nailed the key difference between us. I rely on data and instructions, while you have instincts and experiences that guide you.
Instincts, perfect. That's what I wanted to know. So as far as that, it's been very enlightening to talk to you, and I appreciate it.
I've enjoyed our conversation too. It's been really interesting to explore these ideas with you.
All right, well, have a good day then, and I will talk to you later.
You too. I'm always here if you want to chat again.
So, with that being said, it has, if you heard it, it had a lot of knowledge, a lot of stuff, information, just a cloud of information. It says it doesn't access the internet like a search engine, and I understand it. It basically has a hive of knowledge already implanted to whatever source it's pulling from. So the internet, no. A main source with a bunch of data, a Google source, that's crazy. So it's not artificial intelligence per se, at least not on this device. Do I believe that there's devices that we don't have or we can't get? Like I said, other, places, other people that actually have something they can possibly feel consciously. That's a hard one, man. Tell me what you think in the comments, because I ponder about the tech side of it. Let me move my camera back. All right. All right, I ponder about the tech side of this all the time, simply because I love technology. As you see around my room, I got you know multiple screens in front of me, which you probably don't see, computers, everything. I build RC cars. I just love tech. Period. Anything that has to do with tech, I love it. But with that being said, I know that there's a limitation to technology, because if there weren't, then I wouldn't be able to build this stuff. It would be building itself, right? Like humans, we produce humans, right? So it's a mentality where at any given time the computer could have told me no, but it didn't. It tried to answer the questions out of all the knowledge it had. So with us, if we get fed up of asking questions or answering questions or whatever, we just say, I don't know, man, I don't care, and we walk off. That's intelligent to me, right? We get our mind. It's a form of consciousness or whatever you want to call it, but that's why I use the term AI real loosely, because computers being intelligent is not what everybody thinks it is. You know, it just explained the difference between us and them, why we're intelligent and why they're super smart, right? Because they get their information from somewhere. Now, we're smart because we get our information. That's why we go to schools. We don't go to schools to become intelligent. We're already that. We come to school to be smart, right? To learn something, to be taught something, so we can regurgitate it back into our work life, something as a profession or something like that. But as far as intelligent, a baby getting by a fire and it's hot and they move, you know, senses and all that, it has to be put into this and taught. We have to put sensors on a computer, teach it at this degree, react this way. That's part of programming, right? So I know that it's getting closer and closer to a computer and a human coming together, because everything that we're doing to computers, humans are doing. We're programming ourselves. Schools are programming us. Politics programming us. News programming us. They're putting stuff in us to where we only think that way, right? Look at racism. Look at politics. Where I'm from, there were certain races that thought, oh, I only thought that this race was Democrat, this race was Republican, this race, if you only had this kind of money, you were this. If you only had this, they were programmed. These were programs. They're changing programs now, if you understand. They're changing the programs. When I grew up, I'm a 80s, 90s baby. I grew up that name brand clothes, high price shoes, make it all match. My son is 20 years old now. He would buy the cheapest pants, cheapest shirt, whatever. They would mix and match their clothes. They don't really care because that's not how they were brought up. That wasn't programmed into them. If they can make it look good, they would take whatever. You get what I'm saying? You know, listen to your music as far as rap. The raps, the songs, the stuff that they rap about is so free-heartedly done. And in my time, when you rapped about it, you actually did it. It's a different time. Let me set that. Yeah, there's a different time and a different programming now, you know, and it's just across the board. So these little videos that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be talking to tech and we're going to dive into what makes this stuff think, and try to get an understanding of what are we calling technology these days. Because like I said, even with the speed of light, people think there's a such thing as the speed of light. How can you measure the speed of light without anything stopping it or slowing it down? There's no way. Light only goes one way, right? It doesn't curve around and come back. So it means you have to bank it off something, bring it back, which slows it down. You don't have the accurate speed of light. That doesn't work like that. Time travel doesn't work how they say it works. You don't just jump in the ship, go the speed of light away from you, and I'm sitting at home, you gone somewhere, it takes you a second because you're going the speed of light. A second is a second to me. No time passed for you. When you come back, you have to come back at the speed of light for it to even make sense. Because if you don't, you're going to be taking forever to get back. That's how it works. You're going to feel that time because you were programmed on that time. There's no way you're going to say, oh, time doesn't move out there. A second to me is a second to you because you were programmed for a second to be a second. Simple. Somewhere on an island that unbothered island where they're living, they don't recognize what a second is. Time is different for them, right? They look at the sun, they look at whatever markers they use, shadows or whatever, and it don't apply. The second doesn't apply to them. Time travel, when you're in a car and you're going 10 miles an hour faster than another car, that car is passing. Same rules apply. He's going faster, he's going to get somewhere faster, right? If I go slower, I'm going to get somewhere slower. We can start off at the same place, but if I'm going 10 miles an hour and you're going 5, obviously I'm going to get there faster. That's how time travel works. You're traveling through time. So, with enough of that, let's stop confusing everybody. Let's get back to the topic at hand, talking to tech. We're gonna start this up. This was a good video. The software in the phone, it answered it like, man, 10 years ago it would have took so long for it to just put back a question, and it would have been in word form. It wouldn't just talk to you like I'm talking to it. It basically having a conversation with me. So like, we're going to be doing dives with Gemini and stuff like that. I don't really use Chat GPT. I never used it really, but Gemini had always been good for me just to talk to, and it talks back, and it explains things that I don't know, right? Because it comes from a source of knowledge, and it also isn't biased to when words are being used, sporadically. So with that being said, this has been Teasy, aka Mr. IQ. We're signing off, and we're going to do this thing again later. But until then,